Mayor, Member Council, we are restarting the live stream and we'll be in a position to continue the meeting shortly.
Oh no,
They're obsolete.
Okay, everybody's.
Are we streaming?
I'm just trying to confirm. I'm not seeing the other live stream. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Thank you, Mayor. We are now live streaming again, and I believe we are in a position to restart the meeting.
Okay, thank you all very much for the time and welcome, Mr. Gross. I'll go back to Deputy Mayor DePaula.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for everyone's indulgence with this. So I'll give a little background. There's 9 property owners on Carrington Drive who, for over 25 years, have been maintaining City of Richmond Hill property on their back lot lines. They were given permission to do so. The reason for doing this was to control garlic mustard. It's a highly invasive weed species. Because the city could not get equipment into this area to undertake the maintenance, they approached my office because each of these residents was served a letter from our park staff via bylaws a few weeks ago to cease and desist the activity. I have attached pictures of the backlot area to the clerk, and not sure if we can put pictures up here, but there's this garlic mustard anyways it's toxic to butterflies, causes a number of detrimental effects to forest landscapes and wildflowers, and for that reason the provincial government has designated it a harmful invasive weed species. So my staff have had several conversations with park staff about this. They've actually done a great job, and we've reached what I believe, and I think Councillor West agrees, is a real win-win situation. A real turning into a really good solution. As council knows, Councillor West previously moved a motion to encourage the growth of milkweed gardens to assist with the attraction of monarch butterflies and the invasive garlic mustard problem, and replant milkweed at this location. Now we're going to reach out for donations from the Suzuki Foundation, other provincial departments that are offering and encouraging milkweed to be grown. It's a minimal cost. We've got some buy-in from our staff already, and a lot of this has been underway. But there's 2 things that we need to, as a council, enact today. Part 1 is to provide an exemption to our bylaw for these property owners to manage the weed growth in the area, and within a perimeter established by the city. Currently, they're managing about a 25 to 30 foot swath of city property. So part 1 is that council exempt these residents from and give them the ability to manage the weed growth on this city property. And part 2 is that the council agree to the development of a community milkweed garden on our city-owned property on this backlot area. It would be developed and co-managed by the 9 property owners on Carrington Drive together with our staff. So that's the 2-part motion that I want to put in front of council. And I'm really happy that some residents in the area were able to speak to this. And there certainly would be more under normal circumstances. We'd have some happy residents coming to speak to council, Mr. Mayor. So I'll leave that. I'll leave that out there. I'm happy to work with the clerk on wording, but I'm requesting council to allow these residents an exemption to enter onto city property, and that we partner with them to build a milkweed garden. Thank you.
Okay, and I have 2 speakers. I've got Councillor West, Councillor Pirelli. And we still need to hear from the delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I suggest, I'm happy to second it, but I was expecting that we would probably be hearing from the delegates before council takes the floor. Is that the expectation? It's up to you, but I just.
We have a
before
second here, then we can, yes, let's deal
Okay.
with.
I will second it, and I would ask to speak when the time comes after we speak, hear from the residents.
Good. Okay. Ms. Gross.
Hi, my name is Linda Graham, and I'd like to thank Mr. Mayor and all the councillors for listening to me this morning. Regarding this milkweed project, I've lived here for 37 years, backing onto Pioneer Park, and we've been maintaining city-owned property, keeping the invasive species back. We have an abundance of the toxic garlic mustard plant that the Ontario management states to mow it, and we've been doing so. We've received a letter from bylaw stating that we should not be intruding on the city lands. We're happy to be part of this community milkweed project. This has been an ongoing issue for many years. We've gone to council many times regarding this. Town has not been allowed to, been able to come in as their vehicles have been stuck. And we are just looking forward to having this community milkweed garden and working with the town. Anne Marie came out yesterday with Derek, and they seem to like what we've been doing. And hopefully we can all work together and we can help the monarch butterflies grow and populate and do their thing.
Okay, thank you. Good point. Councilor West and Councilor Perley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the delegates, and thank you to Regional Councilor DiPaolo for bringing this forward. So I will start off by saying I do know a little bit about garlic mustard because it's all over my backyard as well, and it is a pain in the neck. It's an invasive species, so there's really no natural predators that are going after it to keep its numbers down. And at the same time, I do understand the concern that our bylaw staff has had about the property in question being mowed by the homeowners. So I mean, that's probably not an ideal, well, it isn't an ideal situation from a natural environment perspective. So I think that the proposal that Councillor DiPaolo is coming up with is and with the residents is an actual good compromise. And I'm happy to support it. I think it does offer the opportunity to have something in that space that's better than a mowed lawn, which it is now. I think it will go some distance in controlling that invasive species creeping into the neighbors' yards. I think I want to make, and I've done a little bit of work on this after I talked to Councillor DiPaolo yesterday and got some information as well. To be clear, what we're proposing here is an agreement that would be signed by some of or all of the 9 residents involved, that they would work with under advice from our city staff in the environment section about creating this milkweed and pollinator garden. And there would be definite obligations on the part of the neighbors to make sure that it's maintained properly, and that there would be significantly less mowing, I presume, in that agreement. And I do understand that the agreement would be 3 to 5 years in length. And I've encouraged the mention of this, of it being a pilot project to be included in the motion, because I think that we are embarking on somewhat unknown territory in allowing this type of thing to happen. And I got to be honest, I do have some reservations with people doing things in lands that don't necessarily belong to them. But I think that the framework that we're putting in place here covers those situations. But I also think that if we consider this a pilot project, and when it's successful, and when the neighbors buy in and really take ownership, so to speak, of the project, I think that there is a potential for us to be doing this on a wider scale. And I think that it gives us collectively the opportunity to learn, how we can make some of these public spaces more environmentally friendly, and planting more milkweed and planting native species and getting rid of invasive species like garlic mustard will definitely have positive benefits on top of the other positive benefits that we're already seeing in Richmond Hill. So I think that this is a good test and pilot, and I'm happy to support it. And I appreciate the work that staff has also done on this to kind of, find a way to allow opportunities like this type of thing to happen. So I'm happy to do this. I think at the very bottom line, end of the day, the actions that I would envision happening in this location will definitely have a positive effect on pollinators and the monarch butterfly specifically. So I'm happy to support it. I think it's a good thing. And I guess, on the final analysis, I also think there's a real benefit to the community being a part and an important partner in creating a better environment, and taking, quote unquote, ownership of the environment that they're abutting onto in this case. So anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and I'm happy to support it.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Parley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very briefly, I just wanted to thank Deputy Mayor DePaula for taking the lead on this issue. And more importantly, I wanted to thank all of the residents on Carrington for their commitment to taking care of this property for the city for the last 30 years or so, and for their willingness to continue to work with us and take care of this issue in the future. Those are my comments, Mr. Mayor, and I'm happy, very happy to support this.
No. I think this is a good team going forward here. Okay, Councilor Silovitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great idea. I just want to make sure of just one thing before we move forward here, and this is a question through you to a staff member with regards to risk and liability. We will have members of the public on this piece of public property, and I just want to make sure that we as the city are covered in risk and liability.
Okay,
So
who
wishes to take that?
are we looking for here?
I don't know. I can't see anybody on the screen. I can only see 4
We have
people.
Mr.
All right,
Here.
it's Tony. I can field the question. In terms of risk and liability, presumably they would be treated as any other volunteers doing work on city property, and we have policies in place as well as insurance to deal with volunteers, which they would follow the same guidelines as we do various other either tree planting projects or garbage pickup projects. So it would be, in my preliminary view, it'd be similar. They'd be treated similar as those projects.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's what I needed to know. I think this is a very good idea, and it's of huge benefit both to us as the city, to these residents, and of course to the butterflies and the bees. So thank you. I will support this.
Thank you. All right. I don't see any other speakers at this time. All those in favor? 13-2. Opposed? That's carried unanimously. Very good. Congratulations, Deputy Mayor. All right. Now, am I turning the last page, Mr. So we have
The confirming bylaw, Mr. Mayor.
confirming bylaw. I have a mover and a seconder for bylaw confirm the proceedings of council at this meeting. Oh, we moved over here. Councilor Silovitz, Councilor Chan. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Now we have
Motion to adjourn this one, and then we will have the
Yes.
special council.
another same mover and seconder for the adjournment. If we may, all those in favor, once again, yes. And we move on to the special council